Okay. A lot of us talk about our mind and our bodies, but it's like we don't know our mind and our bodies. Really, you got two sides to it. Everybody who is like, they can't see everything that's going on. They have to equate it to science, what biology tell them, and whatever the industry say as far as those societies. That's what's really dictating where we get our definition for things, and we just twist it around to make it make sense to us. Well, that's not all the way true. You see, there's another side to everything. Everything has a spiritual side. And if you can't see the spiritual side, you're never going to be able to connect the two. So no matter how much science you know, how advanced you could get, you can't see it. You can't define it. You can't interpret it. You can feel it, but that don't mean you know what it is. You call it energy, but you won't know what is energy. You see your body acting out different things such as thoughts. What is thoughts? You know what's thoughts, where they come from? You see, all these things is what we fail to realize. This makes our philosophy and science pseudo. The reason why it comes out pseudo is because you don't know the cause and effect of things. If you don't know the cause and effect, you're going to equate it to what they tell you it is. You could remix it. Oh, it's melanin. Oh, it's this. It's that. It's the awakening. It's none of those things. Those are all lies. You see, first of all, you got to be able to understand that there's two sides to you. You have the physical you, work off your five senses. Really, those people that's in their physical, we call them mundane because most of the time they think out of their lower solar plexus of their five senses. So they really don't know nothing beyond their five senses. But say like a cat, for instance, who could detect things beyond what we could detect, could see more than we could see. We never take these things into account when we do our estimation of our lives. What we see and what we detect, animals detect more of. So how could we equate something when we can't even see to equate it? Shouldn't the cat or the animal be equating it, not us, because we can't see? Think about it. Now, you're talking about turning off and on DNA. What happens when you turn your DNA off and on? Do you know? Well, what happens when you turn off and on your DNA? You become more like an animal. You get your animal instincts back. The original you. That's what's cut off. You've been domesticated. Somebody turned off all your DNA, and those was your original first DNA that was on. But as you evolved, they cut off those and cut on logic. So when you're saying you're unlocking your DNA, you're unlocking your lower animal self. Meaning, you be able to see in different frequencies of light. In the infrared spectrum, the gamma ray spectrum, the ultraviolet spectrum. You see in every spectrum like a predator where your eyes could change different lenses. Why is that important? You're going to need it if you're going into the astral world, the other dimensions. They flow into different color spectrums, so you have to be able to see in these color spectrums. Right here, it's a whole bunch of things going on. It's another world. It's another universe, vibrating at different frequencies. This solid earth is the lowest of the lowest. Your physical body deem you kind of a low being. You're going to evolve eventually to be part of this invisible world. Hopefully, it won't be that long. Maybe a couple 100,000 years. Some people is going through it now, and they're on their last time. And so when you're going through these cycles, and depending on your reincarnation, you get ancestral visits. Some people get them, and some people is just overshadowed through inspiration and thought, depending on your evolution of where you're at in your growth, your soul growth. Some evolutions or some reincarnations, you never wake up. You slept through the whole thing, so you never learned anything. Some of them you learned and you did all right. Some of them you just awoke and you never got a chance. So you have many people in different cycles of soul evolution, and depending on yours, I think this year or this last evolution, a lot of souls is leaving. They're moving up to the invisible realm or the higher realm. And so they're seeing things. These is the gods coming back that's going to assist them. Excuse me, it's the thyroid thing. Always had it messing with them doctors. They think they could cure you and you believe it. They wound up giving me a radioactive iodine treatment for my thyroid and it didn't work. All it did was make me do that all the time because my body fought it off. Good thing it did because I wouldn't be happy without my thyroid gland. So it worked against them but in my favor. Well, continuing on now. Where was we? Yes. So it's like you see when you start now this, it's not awakening, but it's like the soul is coming out of you, and it can't be in this body when it come out of you. It got to be in another body, another form. So what it does, it has to be over you. You could say. And in between here now, the distance between here and this has to be subatomic particles, or what we call ancestors. These is the zodiac spirits, the lion, the scorpion, the reptilian. All of these come back to you now and take their positions on different organs of your body. And so with them coming back, you learn lessons. You have to give back your insecurities as far as how you felt, what made you or compelled you through this world. Everybody have insecurities, and so you was given those insecurities when you first came here, and you have to get rid of them. So when you're in your last cycles, you tend to have gave up a lot already, so they come now for you to meet them and for you to give everything back. So with that in mind now, you gonna have visions and you're going to see a lot of different spirits, and that is normal. That's not anything kind of weird or abnormal. You're supposed to unite with them because that's the last journey. You're going into their world now, and that's the world of the underworld, the Tuat. It goes up in level to heaven and past heaven, and it keeps going up. Now if you don't understand these sciences, which was taken out of our philosophy and our our academic world, you're not getting the whole theory of what's going on. You're only getting the five senses theory. And like I said, it's a lot of things you can't see, smell, touch. Some things don't even have form. And for you to understand that, our ancestors who've been here for thousands, maybe millions of years, left detailed books and scrolls and records of all these accounts. And we don't have to be here guessing and pondering and listening to Western ways of telling us who we are. You have to take the time out to go and learn these things because it's not afforded to nobody. It's not in their favor to teach you who you are or empower you. You have to empower yourself. But you got to first understand that there was no knowledge here in this new world, the Western world. Knowledge came from someplace else, the East, where our ancestors is from, and they lived many lives. And so when you seek knowledge only in the Western world, you're like a baby. You don't know nothing because the information already been around in the West. So what, you're going to wait and start all over because you pondering on something and you got to wait generations upon generations for them to revisit it over and correct it? No. It's already pre-laid out for you, and they're not wrong. They're accurate in ancient books. A lot of it is translated only in Germany and French, and we have to dig. It's part of the occult world now. All this information is hidden in the occult. That's where the truth is at. It's like it separates you from the real world, because our world, or the world of, I'm going to just say the occult for now, It's like their information is different from the Lamb information. The preachers and the popes don't share the same books and read the same books you read. He don't read a Bible. He get his information from a superior book, and you read the Bible, and he iterate on it and teach you what it's supposed to mean. Iterate on it, I meant, and teach you what it means. So you got to understand, you're being spoon-fed information, and it's not true information. It's information that has morality only in it. It lacks spirituality. Being that it lacks spirituality, your spirit can't ascend out of you because it's not spiritual based. You understand? It's astrophysics. And astrophysics is a ponderer. It's a wandering star, so it makes the soul wander for years and forever. You come across another wanderer like you fight in turmoil, and that's what you get out of it. That's it. Nothing good comes out of it. So you have to understand these things and take yourself out of these false belief systems and stand on your own too. You're Isis, you're Osiris, together the two make Horus, and that's you, who you are, Horus the consciousness. And if you don't realize that, you're going to be fucked up, because Horus is Jesus, and Jesus is Christ. It's not Jesus like a physical being, but there is a Jesus. His name come from Joseph Pomander, I think his name is there. That's the real Jesus. Look that up if you want to know the true story. And it's not the same person. What we're talking about, it has many names. He was Buddha, he was Vishnu, he was Horus, he was Attis, he was Bacchus. All of these is the same character. Then they personify him as Jesus recently. But it's not a physical person. It's talking about you, your consciousness. When you acquire all three, you recognize the mother, you recognize the father, and now you're the conscious son. And that's what it means. Just like if you look at the symbol of the cross, it's different from the crucifix. The cross, which is really up here and through the middle, it's a T, it's a tar, where we go more with the cross, where it's in the middle. This X right here is in the middle with the circle around it. So we represent the four elements, and this cross itself representing Osiris, the five-pointed star. If the point is in the middle, that would represent the male aspect of the star. If its point is in the V, that would represent the female, her legs cocked up, the vagina. And that's what we represent. When you see the pyramid facing down, it's matriarch season. But when the pyramid is facing up like the V, it's the female. It's patriarch system when it's face down. My bad. It's the man time, king. But when it's faced up like the V, that's the grail, the cup, that's when it's the female, the matriarch system. We left that already. So you got to understand their significance. So in it, if you look where the Star of David is, the V is right there in the middle, and the five-pointed star is the triangle right there at the top in the middle. So one is the feminine aspect, one is the masculine aspect. Always look at the triangle as the male version of it. Flipped upside down, you have the V, and that's the female, the vagina. Now, if you look at Jesus, that's on the cross, that's what he represents too. From his arms going across to, if you go down to his feet, it forms the upside down triangle. So he represents the feminine, the vagina. That's what it represents when you see that man on the cross. It's just represents the feminine goddess energy, that feminine goddess energy y'all females need to grab. It's the Lilith. Lilith, look at Lilith as the soul. She was the first to not be a clay, clone, a robot. And this robot is what happened to all human beings following the ordinance, or what we say is the Bible in its context of the Ten Commandments. But Lilith, she had individuality. She named herself, and she already knew what she was before somebody told her what she was going to be. And so that's the soul. She's the soul. With Newt, the triple darkness of space, being actually the spirit. You understand? She's up there, and she's projecting through Saturn, the cube up there that's melting and everything, that hexagon shape. Well, the light hits that and bounces to all moons. And the moon, there's no sun reflecting on the moon. The light that is hitting the moon is only from Sirius. That's why it's different from the sun. That's why the sun don't have nothing pulling on it. There is no sun outside of our atmosphere. That's just inside our atmosphere. That's the lights, um, photons banging up and hitting on the atmosphere to create a illusion of a light. The actual dome of it is black. It's not light. You don't see light when you go into space. You see darkness. You understand? Because it's not. You would think you'll be brighter in space. You're closer to the sun. No, there's no sun there. No matter what direction you look, there's no direction to no sun. That's why they don't show you space, because they got a big lie going on to trick you. So even light, there's no light in space. Light only is in the atmosphere. When it touches the atmosphere, it reacts to the negative ions. There's positive ions, negative, phonons, and they hit all of that, and you get photons, and they cause a light spark when the positive and the negative hit. Y'all know y'all science. I don't gotta break this shit down to y'all like that. Y'all should understand what I'm saying. Just understand there's no sun out there. Simple as that. When you go into space, it's still dark. It's even darker, even though you're closer to the sun. So what we get is an illusion here of this circle that's a hole, that the light shine through it and it magnify like a magnifying glass, and it's spinning on the ground, a globe. So you think it's a sun, but it's a hole. It's actually a hole with light going through it. You understand? Now the moon gets its light from someplace else. That's why the energy is pulling and pulling on all liquids and on the tides and on a woman's menstrual, because that comes from Cyrus. That's a whole nother different type of energy. So they call that the energy of Osiris, the silver or the glow of the moon, which is also another form of Isis. During half of the month, the first 14 days is the 14 pieces of Osiris that's chopped up that Isis has to go find. So you look at the 14 pieces is the 14 first days of the moon till it turns to full moon. So that's when the moon have the male energy of Osiris, but then the last 14 days is the energy of the moon. Isis, the feminine energy, the feminine principle. So it gives you two aspects. They say we don't know it no more, which one is which. It's like we never kept a record of it, so you don't know. But they do say, depending on your genetics and your influence it has on you, if it's Isis, you having a boy. If it's Osiris, you having a girl. So Osiris energy only make girls, and girls worship Osiris, while boys worship Isis, because they come from Isis. Isis is their energy. The female energy makes the male, and the male energy makes the female. So you have to understand how that works. This is ancient natural science and like soul knowledge. If you don't fully understand how you're supposed to do it, or what we make us up, or how we work, you're not going to be able to turn your DNA off and on. Like I said, it's instinct. You already have it in you to do it, and you know what to do, but your soul know what to do. You will have to let go of yourself, your conditioned ways, so that your soul could do it by itself. It's like a form of anesthesia and kinesthesia together. And together, these two will give you a feeling of making your body just, react for itself. Everything does its own thing. You feel like a snake is wrapping around you. Your ribs will move by itself. Your tongue move by itself. Your eyes, everything. And that's how they do the whole DNA splicing themselves. You just have to participate by giving them their attention, the platform for them to come alive. It's like you observing subatomic particles. By your observation, they become alive if that's your identity or your link to them. So that's how it would work. So, when you're talking about cutting off and on your DNA, people don't know the process or what they're talking about and what would happen. What would happen, if you was to turn on your DNA, you start glowing. You be having projection off your skin. Turning them on is like turning on more circuits on yourself for receiving and producing, for emitting, transmitting. I mean, so you would receive more information at a faster rate, but you would also be projecting off your skin, and through different things you'd be more communicating with the ancestors. Literally, you shapeshift. You'll be able, your body won't be constrained to one shape. It will be able to switch shape, be anthropomorphic or whatever that word is, in accordance with all the gods of the higher world and all the animal spirits of the lower worlds. Also, it's more to it too. You have another form. Your first is not animal or human. Human is last. Forget about human. They didn't make nothing yet. We're still in our evolutionary stage. But there was demons first. So you're first a jinn. That's your first family. A jinn. And then you have demons. It's two separate families. Demons is, or what we call Afris, is the original first born of God. The purple beings, the Indians, the indigos. Those is what's coming from the demon line. Once they first came to consciousness, they moved up, But below them is jinns. Jinns is the ones that have the animal face, but human body. Those is jinns. Demons would be Vishnu and Buddha looking ones, purple looking human beings that have a human look to them. Those was our parents. Then after that, they mated with humans, and then the humans mated with the angels. And so we're the byproduct of all these matings and all these interbreeding, which made us superior to everybody. You understand? So you got to understand, you are a jinn. When you talk about I'm afraid of jinns and you're afraid of them, that's who you are, and you have to embrace that. Because to be a god, you have to know all of these aspects of yourself, and all the plants, all the trees, all the jinns, all the demons. It's what it is. Demons isn't bad. Only person who's bad is a human being who's being influenced by the demon. And you don't look at demon as like how you see in these religious things. A demon is a negative influence spirit towards your magnetic field. So it could be something you like a cookie, and you're not supposed to be eating it, and it's negative towards your magnetic field, and you keep going to eat the cookie. Now you're a cookie demon. You understand? Which make you now a liar, cheat, and your magnetic field know that. So that's what really make demons. So now you go to talk to you and be like, yo, look, you got a cookie eating problem. You need to control it. Oh, I don't have a cookie. What are you talking about? You insulting me, and what makes you think this, and why are you watching me, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Come on, they don't never get to face the issue. That's the succubus on them. You get a succubus, it make you don't want to accept your own reality, and it just wants to keep feeding off of that. That makes it happy. Happy is a sort of drug, it's an endorphin, and that's what we chase nowadays. We've been feeding off endorphins and extra high that they don't use crack no more. Crack or drugs is not needed. Facebook, your messenger, WhatsApp is the new get high. These feed you endorphin through these smartphones that make crack look so like nothing. And so we feed ourselves all these drugs by somebody texting us who we didn't think we could get, people not responding or responding to you, surprising you. All these is get highs to your mind, and it sends off endorphins, and you see it becomes addictive. When this comes so addictive that you lose yourself and start losing your senses and becoming dependent upon it, then you can't sense no more. That's how your cat is able to sense more than you, and your dog hear more than you, because they don't have these objects, these things to distract them, or these things to dumb down their senses. So they're able to still retain their natural sense of who they are. We lose it every time something new come out, a new gadget come out, a new device come out that makes our life easier. We lose something, and we don't realize that we're losing a lot every day by partaking in these so-called make our life easy gadgets. It makes our DNA stop reproducing in the sense of harmony, and it misses a lot of the strands. So you have less DNA strand as you is re-evolve, and you're gonna become more robotic. And being that way it is now, they're gonna have to assist you by making you a cyborg. You're gonna get the cyborg generation is about to come, where the electronics is gonna be built into you. Siri done took over as you're smarter than you. You don't have a consciousness or a mind, so they might as well build Siri in you. What are you good for? So this is where the world is headed. These people that depend on religion and believe in their government and want to vote, they got something for your ass. They're gonna tag your motherfucking ass, and you're gonna be a cyborg next. Checking in, Google gonna tell you how to get to your house. Google gonna cut your lights on for you. Google gonna tell you when to get hard and when to fuck her, how to fuck her. Google is your god. Trust me, it's coming. And they have no choice. When you don't have this up here, you don't have no choice. And they took your mind away from you a long time ago. Once they take your mind from you, you get scared. Ignorance is what comes next. And when you have ignorance and you have fear, you no longer think in a straight manner. You have prejudices and you believe things is against you, and you also inflate yourself. The greatest question to ask somebody, or the stupidest question to be honest, is to ask somebody to tell you about themselves. They're going to lie to you. Nobody ever going to tell you the truth about themselves. They're always going to make themselves out to be so good. How many people, when you ask them about themselves, they tell you fucked up shit only about themselves? Nobody do that. Of course not. Everybody's good. Everybody's perfect. That's what type of world we live in. You see, deception is nature's first gift to you. If you look at the snakes and the animals, they look like the trees around them. The lion blends into the desert. Everybody is born with a camouflage of deception. If you don't know how to look beyond that, you will be a victim. You'll be a predator. An energy vampire will come and suck your life all the time. So you have to know these things. These are your steps to being a shaman. You learn demonology. You learn demonology by going into the valley of the beast, where all the demons is at, and you study them. You defend yourself against them. You become one with them. When you do that, then you learn demonology firsthand, not from somebody telling you, from you experiencing it, because that's part of you too. You have multiple parents. You don't just have God the Father. Yeah, your physical body your soul belonged to him. That one, not, was it your soul? No, your soul don't belong to him. Your spirit. Your spirit belonged to him. Your soul belonged to the earth. Your astral body belonged to the astral world. Your physical body belongs to all the elements here. So you go into many places. You also got your dark side and your light side. Your dark side belongs to Set. You're going to meet him. That's your father too. And your light side belongs to Jehovah and Ra and the sun. That's the yin and yang symbol. But those is all different aspects. You got many directions, like rainbows of auras that distribute in different color spectrums, and everybody go back to their prospective place and got their prospective parents. But you don't have one parents, because you don't have one you. You only see one you, but you have 4 you operating at one time. So understand that, and with that 4 you, you have 7 souls. So your cousin could be a version of you. Other people in other countries, someplace out in the world, is 7 versions of you at one time. Then you have 9 version of you operating on 9 planets at one given time. And you have past, present, future at the same moment taking place, that sometimes your subconscious could click into, and you get little flashes of those moments like deja vu. You know, in my lessons that I'm at right now, it's like I'm learning how to see these worlds. They come out my eyes. Sometimes it gets so weird, like that little beam or that little light you see, it start projecting these balls or circles that look like ice cream cones tunnel, and down at the end down here, It's a world. You see a whole thing going on. I could move my head. They're moving right with me like a tunnel beam. And I get to study it and I'm watching. There's something taking place. A lot of things going on. I could see people riding horses, stuff from in the slavery days, a lot of different everything you see. I see stuff in futures and other worlds that you can't even describe. And I'm watching it like it's a movie, just like this. I watch it for 3, 4 hours sometimes, just studying it. It's so undescribable that I'm looking at it over and over and over and over again to like identify things. You know, when we're talking about this world, like say now you go into the 40s, you see it like a smoke image. You see it just like this. If you can't see this lines that's going by, look around. You see them? If you can't see all of that, you can't see into that world. That's how it all started for me. But I'm seeing all these now in my vision, not like in a camera recording. Right in my vision. That's how it all starts. So I'm like, what the fuck is this? And I start looking into it, and I notice how that could control it in my mind, and I could make it bright and vivid, like if I'm watching a flat screen now in this time and ever, and fade into it, and go like if I'm looking and peeking into that world, smell everything. Sometime even feel what they're feeling, and then even submerge all the way to hear it. Or sometimes I just stay close and I'm just observing, and it's like it's right here with me, and I'm going right along with the person riding a horse, or he's walking, or whatever's going on, and I could try to pull myself, but it's like you fall into it, you fall into it, you fall into it, and you're going into it. It's very technical, but I want y'all to see it's a lot going on. Not in the material world, and I don't care about black pride and that all that stuff going on with the oppressor beating us up and arresting us. Fuck that. Get money and get the fuck up out of his face, man. That's it. It's that simple. It is. What you doing with your money? How long you been working? How many thousands of dollars you done accumulated? What the fuck you did? Buy cars? Go move out with your man and make kids and paying rent? Now you stuck? It's your fault, man. Come on. We aren't gonna go into these little kids stuff. Step your game up. You understand? My thing is more when you get your game up, then come check out what I'm doing. This is for bettering yourself after you done got out that animal survival shit. You know what I'm saying? Your thoughts control everything. If you don't have the right thoughts and you thinking fucked up shit, or you think something is gonna get you, something is gonna get you, and something fucked up is gonna happen. That's a fact. So you have to be in control of your mind. Mind is stuff, and you're living in a mind. And if you don't understand how the matrix works, they control you with these thoughts. They control you through the TV, making you panic, making you worry. You have, different red flag colors for you to say, hey, act like this now. Hey, calm down. Hey, act like this now. Hey, everything is good. They fucking with you. Then they give you all these pills. And you don't understand that's the new crack, that's the new get high. So I just wanted to leave this information, so that everybody get understanding where I'm coming from. And it's more to this that you have to grasp. You have to re-educate yourself and forget about the Western way and the Western books. It worked for them because this is their culture. They're raised into this. It's very little. It's 3 days old. You got millions of years under the belt. You have different. You're made of carbon. It's like you're a spirit in a physical form, and you have to do spiritual things. But you have to know. You have to learn through me. I don't know nobody else who know, and I haven't taught it. I'm just giving you basic principles. I'm learning myself, making sure I'm not leading y'all down no bad path. It's no demons, nothing evil. So far, everything is pointing to one path, and that's up. That's what I'm gonna give y'all. You understand? So bear with me as I get the knowledge and information, because I don't, not no narcissist, I'm not no Kabbalist, I'm not none of that. I'm not even no Egyptologist ass nigga, no Kemetic ass nigga. I'm just a nigga from the hood that knows now because I fucking got and pulled into this experience, and I'm seeing all this, and this is what they're showing me. When they project themselves onto my skin when I just press record, and it's like I get these weird anomalies. It's them trying to tell you all something. I just gotta put it out. So sometimes when you watch my videos, you might not hear me talking clearly like I'm doing now, and I sound like I'm in a trance. I am. I have to make sense out of that, so I let it flow through me. So it's not gonna come out like if you dictate or you it's defined in your world or in some book. I'm just giving you the basic touch it, touch it, touch it. It's really follow me. It's not, you know, I gotta instruct you. If it's too much instruction, that means it's too much awakening have to do. Awaken yourself by just looking, observing. And that's how it really works. Because a lot of it, it's unexplainable. It's just something you do. I am you. And we're spiritual. And tune in and tap in. It's going to help you. It's all energy work. It's putting you back with who you are. And once you get back to who you are, they'll come back to you and teach you and show you. But if we just live in a superficial way of thinking and not seeing like this energy, like I said, you have to be seeing this energy not in this video, in real life. It's all here. We only seen a very small spectrum of the whole electromagnetic spectrum. And so if we don't see the whole thing, we don't know what's going on. And we believe what we want in our minds when we're not seeing the whole thing. You're not seeing me. If we're only seeing the part of the spectrum that only for the visible light spectrum, I'm bigger than that. I'm part of the whole spectrum, so you're not seeing the whole me. You're only seeing the part that falls within the visible light spectrum. I'm bigger than that. Way bigger. Look from the sound wave to the last one, which is what, I don't know, gamma or whatever. It's a very big spectrum. And then look what you could see. You could see a toothpick line in there for the visible light spectrum. So you still exist in those other ones that you can't see. I hope this makes sense. Anyways, University of Conscious Science. One love.